I moved into this apartment 2 weeks ago after long nights organizing files in hospital archive. I wanted quiet, unremarkable space to recover from everything. The bathroom vanity had a single plastic hair brush sitting beside sink, not mine, but I assumed former tenant forgot it. Until I looked closer, it was heavy and stiff bristles, thick dark hair stuck in it, not mine. I pulled gently, and they came away as though fallen inside the brush recently. Despite cleaning before move-in, I found them oddly layered beneath bristles. I bagged it fingernail width, strands curly and odd texture twisted. I dropped the brush on a counter in shock. I live alone. No one visits that night. I combed my own hair and left the brush back on sink thinking maybe cleaning made left hair. But next morning it had moved, a new strand tangled across handle. I picked it up, faint scent, as though hair had been wet and drying, lingering. I wrapped bag hair, contact lens, pink envelope. Beneath sink, odd residue beneath lid eye. Scrub with bleach on day 2. I discovered inside cabinet door hinge, tiny cluster of hairs masked by shadow area, one piece that matched bag strands. I photographed it, then cleaned it away, but each morning cluster regrew. In same place I cleaned with alcohol, wiped smooth. Next morning hair reappeared, stuck to hinge with moisture like glue. I set up small motion camera facing vanity, recording every moment, but I reviewed footage next day, saw nothing obvious, shadows, drift light. Change, no figure, no human arm, no brushing movement, only static frames. At 2:42 m, one frame glitch, dark smear near sink. Then clean again, next second still out of body. I found hair, sample small, full lock twisted around finger. I pulled it loose and recorded magnified photo. It showed gray fleck pattern, not part of human hair, majority brown, but strands mixing. I held sequence strong in memory. On third morning, I combed using my own brush, but placed that hairbrush in a drawer for safety. When I went to bed, the brush emerged on sink again, face down, as though someone placed it intentionally. I didn't open drawer in between. I videoed again, but log shows only artifact glitching. Recording at 2:46, strange timestamp, December 31st, 1901. I half felt observed brushing teeth later, a faint reflection movement in mirror behind spray of faucet. I turned quickly, no one there, only damp counter hair tangles left in my own brush, as though swapped. I tested both brushes under UV light and found residue of saliva pattern, small, not mine, and faint friction burn on bristle base. Each night around 2:42 a.m. while asleep, I woke to faint brushing sound on sink, as though bristles dragged across tile. I froze, then silence. I opened eyes and saw brush handle placed upright on edge, exactly center of sink bowl. Like exhausted sentinel, my heart throbbed. I didn't move. I sat still, listening. Hair smelled damp, almost iron metal scent, based on video. Timestamps, audio event occurs at 2:42:13 exact each night. Not 3:13 pattern, more consistent. Tiny glitch. Timestamp tag on video files shows 2:42:13:19. Oh, one hit. Next morning, I found a wave audio file on my phone inside folder labeled sleep audio, ambient, not mine. I didn't set recorder, clip length 09 seconds. I played it backward and forward, low whisper layer beneath sound of brush tapping on reverse. I heard rhythmic, something like brushstroke, then a word reversed, but I could not identify language. The brushes now betray me. I checked drawer, stored original hairbrush with my hair, none extra hair, but now bathroom. Vanity brush holds full dense lock of hair, not mine, same mix. Curly and straight coil, bleeding small strand across sink counter. Each night, more hair appears in brush. Each morning, more hair on counter. I don't trust myself brushes or strands. They feel intentional directive, as though someone combed inside my hair while I slept using the wrong brush and left hair behind as silent accusation. I've started wearing gloves to bed mask over face, sleeping lightly. I downloaded UV fingerprint app and found prints beneath. Bristle base, faint ridge pattern not mine, and salivation smear inside bristles, a forensic friend said, could be imitation using sticky liquid, but more like body secretion. I shivered each day. I document location, count of hairs, count of prints residue. I have them stapled inside paper notebook along with timestamps, drawn felt pen calendar each day. Text file, corrupted data corners, file names, 1901 glitch metadata tags, repeating pattern. My nights are punctuated not by fear, but by dread anticipation. I dread it. At 2:42 am, already concreted self-awareness that someone once inside bathroom, a consistent minute, something drawn to brush and hair and leaving strands as. Calling card. I feel they know my pattern, know my body. I no longer assume this is benign each. Night before sleep, I secure the bathroom door, double latch, place my own hairbrush on dresser far away. I wear gloves to bed, and still the stranger's brush returns to sink. Next morning, heavy thick hair wrapped around bristles, damp and sticky. On the fourth night, I left motion camera running again, placing extra devices on floor and inside medicine cabinet. I was terrified, but curious. I watched playback at dawn, video mostly static, but at exactly 2:42 a.m., 3 frames showed motion in mirror. Reflection, slight head tilt near sink, then a translucent outline of arm reaching past edge of frame toward brush, but the color distort like glitch. Screen timestamp shifted to 1901 02 42 13, then file ended without sound. When I replayed the audio track on second device, I heard soft scratch of bristles dragging across tile, then what sounded like a hum breathing low, then abrupt whisper again, indiscernible on replay in forward mode. I sensed word rhythm matches a plea not threat, but compression reversed again, broken a hiss. I saved clip, then backed it up, but when I reopened it hours later, audio was gone. Only blank section remains, but metadata still shows 08 seconds. Length tag reversed that same morning. When in a bedroom mirror brushing teeth, I saw a tangle of hair hanging from the empty brush handle on vanity behind me. Even though I left that brush in drawer all night, I turned quickly to check drawer was closed. An empty mirror reflection showed brush hanging as though someone caught it by bristles midair, tilting and stain of steam pattern. I whipped around, but nothing, only damp counter mirror still foggy. I touched handle. It was cold with hairs wrapped. Same lock mixture, hair samples counted. Strands now, 2 clusters, different curl type, same ratio. I began testing environmental DNA swabs on bristle strands, brushing sample, wiped on a slide, sent to lab. They reported mixture of human male and female DNA. Minor percentage low match to myself, matched unknown genome, impossible to familial match, incomplete profile, fluid origin ambiguous, sweat, saliva, scalp secretion plausible, but not from occupant of record. They said stranger living hair at work, same hair strand appear in cubicle. I may have carried bag case, brush wrong bag, but I keep brushes separated, gloves prevent cross-contamination. Yet each morning I find a strand loosely placed on phone charger, desk, keyboard, or inside laptop hinge I collected. 6 samples home and office independent labs confirmed same odd mixed strange part is sample ages different. Some hair tip looks older, brittle, some fresh, squeaky. She knew. I checked fingerprint ridge pattern on sample hair's base using UV angle microscope, found faint ridges pattern matching partial palm print shape across sample glue residue at root, suggesting touch grip from palm area, pulling hair from bristles inside the handle. The stranger touched brush by root and combed into same grouping. Explicit repeatable choreography. Now, each night around 2:41, I feel sensation of fingers brushing scalp, though immobile lying supine. I wake before 2:42, heart pounding, breath shallow. I sit up here. Brush tap on tiles, crack inside dream. Then next moment brush is on sink, moving across edge, so faint I feel bristles on back of hand. I hold breath until sound stops, then stand indistinct fog in bathroom threshold. I started wearing headphones at night, noise canceling, yet whispers still seep through internal audio, biological resonance, not electronic recording. My heart monitor shows pulse drop. Before clip plays, there is dip at 2:41, then spike at 2:42, correlated each night since day one on day 5. I reached out to former occupant via landlord text. They confirmed they had no brush left, no curl hair. I sent pictures, they never responded, but same day feed store drone filmed HVAC, looked at ducts and inside crawl space. There was no access. They said building has no attic space above bathroom. There is solid concrete slab. I asked if any prank or occult rumor. They said something about tenant mumbled strange chanting under tile at. Funeral home, funeral concierge below, building another owner. Operates both spaces. That evening, I placed a second brush beside sink, one plain plastic cheap. Just in case stranger used it, I expected no hair, but next morning that plain brush held strands, 2 curled, identical mix. I tested NA, identical profile, conclusion. They target hair, not brush unique. They comb on any brush left upright. I said experiment. I wedged brush bristles deep in a tub handle bracket and left it hard to move. But next morning, bracket scratched, loose handle, shifted brush fallen on a floor tiles, hair cluster again, tangled through bristles. I now carry 2 brushes, one travel, one spare, and I glove everything I comb hair with new brush. But I still wake with strands, missing from my scalp, though I do not. Brush at night awake. I find hair clumps under pillow shape of data, glitch number strands, equal count of nights laid in log, named cluster, each day tag, reversed, overwritten file names hair, strand date time, 2:42:13, 2:43:13. I dream of combing in dark mirrored room, endless rows of vanity tables, hairbrushes lined up, each with dark hair tied, and not I comb, unknown scalp reflect, beside me blonde curls, mixed brown I comb. Faster until I see silhouette by tub reflection, tall thin void head, tilt then hair. Instantly pulled from brush handle in a black mist, I wake gasping. At 2:42 a.m. night 6, I recorded heart rate. Dry mouth anxiety from throat seizures of memory. Lying awake, turned face away from sink. I heard brush drop on a tile. Faint tap, then heart monitor recorded spike. 180 BPM audio clip captured deep inhale, breath hiss, second voice whisper word like name reversed. I felt heat on scalp underside, then slept slumping forward. Next morning bruise ring around head temple. Like hair, tie imprint gone too fast to record sleep mark. There is no room beyond denial now. I see eyes behind hair sample. As indexes, there's pattern behind mirror motion. Echo behind code. The stranger's presence pulls hair, not brush, not mine to comb. Across water sink tile like ritual of making mark. I keep notebook open, nightly pen, trembling, each entry lock file, count hair clumps, pairs of strands, bruise, mark, size, location, dream, description, each time hair cluster appears in meantime. I tried changing brushes, replacing them with metal comb scissors. Nothing helps, hair still appears attached to replacement tool overnight. If I don't record observation, next day hair cluster inside brush missing, and for next morning has few loose lock sign. Covers logs as though ghost, erases record if I skip day. I fear next pair. I wake to see hairbrush in bathroom, empty, girl curled, inside tub dark damp, figure crouched inside, handle silhouette pressing through mirror. Steam image, my hair falls in handful every morning, but not from own brush. I do not trust touch. I fear being combed in sleep. I fear hair becoming fingerprint medium of presence. I document all strands. Residue. Time dip, spike temperature, but digital file wiped again tonight. Raw file disappears, replaced by file named host brush 01 backup hair. 2/19/01 date corrupted. The stranger is slowly unbraiding me, and I fear when brush holds a full scalp lock of my hair, I will vanish. I no longer see the brush as an object now. I feel it is container and threshold. Each strand inside confronts me by the seventh night. I kept both brushes locked in sealed zipper bags, tape, marked night 7. When I retrieved the morning, both held full locks of hair, one inside the sealed bag, though it was never opened, and the bag handled only by me, and gloves the hair inside, extended length, as though it grew overnight through plastic fabric. I examined threads microscope and found same mixed curl ratio and sticky root residue. Faintly oily, not from scalp, but adult sebaceous scent, altered, denatured. I recoiled. Sleep became battleground. I now sleep with earphones, white sound mask, and wrist cuff alert pad to log every sensory impulse. At 2:42 a.m., the wrist pad buzzed before audio clip played, waking me instantly. My spine felt inflamed with static, each vertebra pinned to clip signal. I felt hair pull on scalp inside. Sleep reflex. Though awake, I pulled at roots only to feel slight tugging, pulling sensation on the other side of head that hurt worse. I staggered to bathroom and saw brush and bag moved upright, handle out of seal, as if pushed inside by force. The bristles bent outward as though someone held it, and combed on floor below fallen hair. Cluster imprint of brush handle pressed in a tile, polished like sediment, whirl pattern bulging in a tile, grooves in mirror. I saw shape, a silhouette crouched in fog behind vanity. Silhouette bent closer on reflection, only arriving when I touched mirror surface. It disappeared. When I blinked, my reflection did not flinch in day. I tested bag. I resealed another hairless brush inside cloth pouch, double zip bag stored in drawer. Morning, I checked bag. It hung from handle inside pouch. Again, no breach. Zipper lines clean intact, but brush dangling inside from straddle handle. No explanation. I began seeing hair outside bathroom, 2 on pillows, couch, armrest, keyboard, even steering while I wore gloves cleaning, but strands remained stuck in crease of steering wheel button, fingerprint residue beneath leaf pattern ridge match to handle print on bristles earlier. I dropped gloves, dexterity, slipping last pier cluster thread under dashboard, stayed stuck inside upholstery. My body changed, scalp tenderness becomes bruise marks, dark line at hairline. I fear head pain. At 2:42 arises from depths. Heart monitor shows drop slow, then rush. Skip audio devices show clip length 101 seconds each night, growing longer. Tiny crush of breathing and static hum and whisper, first syllable, then laughter. I tried speaking to presence inside mirror. I activated front camera, locked eyes in a reflection, and whispered name my mouth, moved in a camera lens, sequence glitched. I saw my own face soldiered by hair roots, oozing black, then behind me movement, inside reflection, a small face briefly pressed to glass, lipless mouth parted eye sockets dark, then gone I threw phone across room, it smashed. But no. Error screen blinked black with hair. Reflection welded across pixels, logo tattoo, appearing of 6 letters, Aloha. I took it out to newspaper public area, scanned lens, void glass, shattered under bright light, external hair, threads framed across. Screen horizontal lines. I wonder if this presence writes code in reflection. I contacted ethics board forensic lab. Sending hair, sample number 9 package, labeled night 7. They responded, uneasy, said, sample compromised by unknown organic enzyme. They cataloged future analysis, withheld work order, but indicated contamination unexplainable. My nightmares escalate. I dream I am combing hair in long black vanity hall that stretches endlessly as I repeat strokes hair, falls on a floor infinite locks each. Fall still breathing, I step in each lock barefoot, feeling weight. Eventually mowed, forms a mound, shaping human silhouette. Leaning near tub, it raises arm slow and comb. I gasp awake, sweat cold. Each vein clutching shoulder nerve. When I wake, 5 hairs taped to forehead pattern braid circle as though someone finished braid pattern on me. These hurt to remove, they tangle in eyebrows. I clean mirrors with bleach next day. Fog reappeared hair, speckled spectral layering. Repeating silhouette press too. Glass from inside though no one was there. I avoid sinks, I shower outside. I wear gloves to toilet. But hair, strands still appear in unexpected places, inside coat pocket, in food box, in household keys. Groove pattern, always curly mixed lock pattern, always residue. I attempted confession to landlord text. No reply. 3 minutes later, user unordered been flagged odd. These text logs auto, reversed in dial app. Number unlabeled, changed to unknown. Ghost my phone shows, calls nearly 20 missed at 2:42 a.m. each day. I know, I am node in pattern I fear. I feed them hair data. Through brush, each lock increase kidnapping memory. I fear I become. Braid inside, ghost web on night. 8 brush clusters multiply my. Pillow dual prints press my wrist, still bleed. With rash the brush in bathroom empty, but bathroom mirror fogged. I see distinct print lines cross each lens, as though someone pressed palm inside condensation. Then smudged, I record notes, but page tears out overnight. I discovered torn blank page in journal drawer. Instead of entry, I considered leaving city, but magstripe card photo inside, purse keyed with code. Switched to pattern. I don't know, I pulled card and printed pattern reflective code equal to hair cluster ratio and tile loop. I charted. They trace me through tiles and brushes. They know my pattern. They whisper through hair. They erase my notes. They control brush. This is no longer haunting, it is. Assimilation, the hair has started to braid itself. I woke up this morning with my hair twisted down the left side of my scalp into a perfect plait. I don't know how to braid, that I've never even attempted it. But it was tight and neat, woven close to the skin like someone had done it lovingly, precisely. The strands are not all mine. There were lighter ones in the pattern, finer and drier, like sun-damaged hair. I stood in front of the mirror for over an hour, trying to pull it out strand by strand, but every time I tugged, a sharp pain lanced into the back of my skull. Like the braid had sunk into me, roots deeper than the skin. I tried cutting the braid with scissors. The metal cracked on contact, not snapped, not dulled, cracked. One of the blades sheared in half. The rest of the scissors fell to the floor and didn't move when I kicked them. They stayed there, useless and cold, and I couldn't bring myself to touch them again. The hairbrush is no longer where I leave it. It migrates. Last night, I placed it in a locked drawer, double-taped and stuffed under a heavy metal box. I didn't sleep, not because I wasn't tired, but because something kept brushing my shoulder. A light touch, the same motion over and over, as if something was brushing me, stroking me, testing the weight of my hair. At 3:12 a.m., I gave in and turned the light on. The brush was resting beside my pillow, upright, like it had been used and then placed gently back. No footsteps, and no sounds, just presence, constant. I've started hearing breathing when I brush my own hair. Not mine, it's always just slightly off rhythm. Sometimes ragged, like a dry wind whistling through pipes. Other times calm and low, as if something stands behind me, mirroring every motion with its own reflection. I caught that reflection again yesterday. Not in the mirror this time. In the window, broad daylight, middle of the afternoon. I was brushing my hair absently while talking on the phone. And in the window outside, I saw it. Not a face, not fully. Just a pale figure standing where it shouldn't be, in the second-story reflection of the building next door. It was brushing its own hair, long and stringy, moving in sync with me. When I stopped, it stopped. When I backed away, it kept brushing. The person on the phone asked me why I had gone quiet. I couldn't answer. I've tried disposing of the brush 3 times. First, I threw it in the dumpster 2 blocks down, wrapped in 4 plastic bags. It was back on the bathroom counter by morning. Second, I tried burning it in the fireplace of an abandoned house near the edge of town. I watched the flames wrap around it, heard the crackle of melting plastic. It shrieked, not from the fire, but from inside it, like a scream through clenched teeth. I left the fire roaring and ran. The brush was in my car's glove box when I returned. Third, I mailed it that I didn't address the package to anyone, just shoved it in a box with no return label and dropped it into a blue postal bin at the edge of the highway. It was a pure act of desperation. It was under my pillow the next morning. I don't know how much time has passed since I found it. The days have started blurring. I write in this journal constantly, but the pages reorder themselves. Sometimes I wake up and find the ink has bled across the paper into something that resembles strands, tight lines curling like hair across the page. The strangest thing is this: my own memories have started to feel combed, edited. I remember brushing my hair as a child. I remember my mother showing me how to use a comb to part it. But lately that memory ends differently. She stands behind me, brushing. Then her face is no longer my mother's. It's longer, older, hollow-eyed. And she keeps brushing even when I start to cry. Her fingers cold, tugging like she's looking for something in my scalp. I have dreams now that feel more real than waking life. In one, I'm underwater in a white porcelain tub, unable to rise. My hair stretches endlessly across the surface. I feel someone combing it from above, gently, over and over. When I try to move, the brush presses down on the back of my skull. I see a face hovering above me, not malicious, not angry, just empty, like someone left behind for too long. When I wake, my pillow is wet and the braid is tighter. This house is starting to rot. Walls have hairline cracks, literal ones. Tiny black threads sprouting from crevices. Not mold. Not wires that I checked that I pulled one from the hallway wall and it was a hair. curled, tangled, smelling of old perfume and bleach. I tried calling a specialist, a plumber, to see if something in the pipes could be causing it. He never came in. He stood at the doorway, looked inside once, and left without a word. I stopped trying to explain things. I know now that this isn't a haunting. It's a grooming, a preparation. Every day, the hair feels more like it's not just attached to me, but woven into something bigger. Like I'm part of a tapestry I can't see. I opened the bathroom drawer this morning and found another brush. Not mine. Not the original. This one is older, wooden, dark, and still damp. It had hair already caught in it. Not my hair. I think they're bringing replacements now. I think the brushing is just the beginning. I stopped brushing 2 days ago. It wasn't a choice I made for strength or clarity. It was the kind of surrender that comes when something inside you goes slack, when every nerve just gives up trying to explain the world and simply observes the braid had grown tighter each night until I couldn't breathe properly. My scalp ached so deeply I felt it behind my teeth. I touched the side of my head in the mirror and felt a pulsing under the skin, like something was moving underneath, threading through me. When I made the decision to stop brushing, I placed every brush in the house in a metal lockbox and bolted it shut. I buried it beneath the floorboards of the guest bedroom, beneath a rug. I never used it. It was the only thing I could do that didn't make me feel watched. But that night, something changed. Without the brushing, there was no calm, no lullaby of tugging and smooth strokes, only a stillness too heavy to be silent. Something hummed inside the walls a low vibration, like hair being pulled from a drain somewhere deep under the house. The dreams were worse. I dreamed I was standing in front of a mirror that did not show my reflection, only the back of someone else, a woman with her hair tied in a braid, long and wet, dripping. She was brushing it slowly, methodically, and every time she passed the brush down the length of her hair, the strands pulled tighter around my chest like invisible cords. When I woke, I had red indentations across my torso, long, curved lines, as though combed tines had raked me in my sleep. That morning, clumps of hair began appearing around the house, not mine. At first, they were unfamiliar, brittle lengths of blonde or silver, some of them crusted with what looked like old soap or dry blood. I found them hanging from doorknobs, wrapped around the handles of kitchen drawers, curled inside my shoes. I just swept them up, burned them, flushed them. Nothing helped. They kept returning, multiplying and blending eventually with my own. I'd pull my brush through what little hair I dared to untangle and feel a tug that went deeper than the root. The worst moment came, the shower. I bent to wash my hair, cautiously, barely letting my fingers touch the scalp, and I felt at the soft tickle of more hair, not on my head, but crawling down my back. I stood up too fast, fell against the tile, and hit the faucet. My back was slick with soap and something else. When I turned around in the mirror, fogged and cracked, I saw it, not hair growing from my scalp, but from the back of my neck, long threads pushing out from beneath the skin, twisting together like vines, pulling tight into a crude braid. I screamed, but no sound came out. The braid began to pulse, and from it I felt heat rising like breath across a wound. I left the bathroom door open after that, hoping whatever was in the house would understand. I was done resisting that night. The brushing resumed, not by me, but by something else. I lay still, feeling fingers glide through my hair. I could not turn to see who was there, but the air around me had a weight to it, not threatening, just ancient, like being cradled by something far older than time. When I closed my eyes, I saw again the woman in the mirror. But this time, she turned slowly, her face smooth and blank as single. I'm missing, replaced by a dark, empty circle. Her mouth did not move, But I heard her voice, "You must be prepared." I woke with the taste of rust in my mouth, my pillow soaked again this time, not with water, but with something thicker, dark red, I know. Longer trust the days the light doesn't change anymore. The clocks all stopped yesterday. Every single one frozen at 3:33 a.m. The shadows move independently of me, stretching long across the floor, even when I'm still yesterday. The mail came. I don't remember ordering anything, but there was a package on my doorstep, no label, no postage inside. Was another brush. This one was carved from bone. It was warm to the touch. I didn't open the front door. The package was inside the house waiting for me by the foot of the bed. I've started brushing again, not by choice, but because the pain is too great. If I resist, every time I stop, even for a moment, my scalp splits along the part line. Just a little, not enough to bleed, just enough to feel something. Beneath the skin shift like fingers adjusting themselves. And now, it's not just my hair. The brush moves on its own. I've watched it sit on the table motionless, then moments later find it rocking gently back and forth, brushing against the edge of the surface in tiny repetitive strokes. It wants something finished. I hear whispers now. Every time I brush, the voice of the woman, and others, lower male voices, older, some crying, some murmuring nonsense, and some speaking directly to me. You wear her now, let her breathe through you, let her finish. I've started smelling roses in the bathroom, heavy perfume like something left behind in an old drawer of belongings. The tub fills itself, sometimes with murky water, and the reflection is never mine. Once I leaned over it and saw a face staring up, but not from beneath the surface. It was pressed flat against the ceiling, reflected down in the water, looking at me with eyes that were stitched shut with hair. When I blinked, it blinked back. I tried to cut everything off. I found clippers and razors. I stood in front of the mirror and tried to shave my head, but the blades dulled before touching me. The electricity in the house cut out when I turned on the clippers, and every light in the bathroom turned on by itself, glowing faintly blue. When I looked again, the mirror was not a mirror. It was a window. She was standing on the other side. I can't describe the feeling. It was like falling and rising at once, like being combed out of your own body strand by strand. Every time I brush now, I feel less like me, more like her. She's moving, and not like a spirit, not like a ghost, like someone moving into an old house, taking measurements, unpacking belongings. The brushes keep multiplying. I find them on the stairs, the sink, the kitchen table, each one with more hair, each one brushing gently. Even when untouched, the house groans at night, not from age, but from growth, like it's stretching, making space. Soon there won't be room for me anymore. Just hair. Just her, just brushing. I have not slept in 4 days, or maybe longer. Time is breaking down, each moment folded into the next like hair, twisted into a knot that cannot be undone. The clocks remain at 3:33 a.m. I stopped checking them long ago. The sunlight doesn't shift anymore, and shadows curl around corners that weren't there yesterday. The brushing continues, not in my hands, but all around me. Brushes float, now not dramatically, not with force, but as though held by hands too old to be seen. They sweep across the floor, across the windows, across my skin without ever touching it. I feel their presence, not in the air, but deep inside me. Brushing something within the soul. The hair is everywhere. It grows from the walls, from the drains, from under the floorboards. It weaves across my ceiling like roots beneath a grave. It grows from me in places that were never meant to grow. Anything, the back of my neck, the curve of my spine, the inside of my mouth. I woke, choking, and pulled a clump of hair from my throat, long and wet and still warm. It was not mine. I have not seen my own face in days. The mirrors no longer show me. When I walk past them, I see other rooms' reflections of other places, unfamiliar corridors, soaked in flickering light. And static, my reflection has been replaced by her. She always brushes last night. I followed the sound into the basement. I had sealed that room months ago after the smell began. The door opened before I touched it, and I descended slowly, every stair covered in hair matted like carpet. At the end of some grotesque runway, the light bulb flickered, and in the corner, she sat, the woman, the mirror version, the owner of the braid. She was no longer just an image. She was real, but not flesh or skin was. Waxy, pulled too tight, her limbs were too long, folded in a way that didn't look painful, just unnatural, like a spider mimicking human posture. She held a brush carved from teeth and bone, and she was brushing something. It was me, not the me, standing in the basement, but a version of me kneeling before her, head bowed, hair unspooling infinitely down into the floor, into the earth itself. My body slacked my eyes, closed my mouth half open in an expression I couldn't understand. I watched myself being groomed, and I couldn't look away. She lifted her face to mine finally, and I saw the braid was not a braid at all, but a twist of scalp and thread made from the remains of many people, different textures, different colors, all joined into one terrible cord. She brushed it lovingly like a pet. She whispered, "You wore it long, enough time to shed." I ran, or at least I tried. The stairs were longer than before, stretching endlessly up, and I climbed for hours or seconds, a measure lost in the suffocating crawl of hair following me. Each breath tasted like rot and perfume. When I emerged back into my bedroom, I was not alone. Brushes floated midair around me, circling gently like moths drawn to a candle, but they weren't brushing me now. They were brushing the walls, brushing the furniture, brushing the outline of figure just barely visible in the center of the room. A cocoon made of hair at pulse, slowly breathing. I should have screamed, but I couldn't. The hair had wound its way down my throat again, and this time it didn't stop. I felt it spreading into my chest, curling into my lungs, threading itself into the rhythm of my heart. My hands no longer obey me. I write this now because it is the only thing I can still do. The brush is beside me, and I know what it wants. I know that if I pick it up and stroke the braid just once more, she will let me be still for a while. She will take the ache away. But each time I brush, I lose a little more of myself. Yesterday, I found photographs that never existed me as a child in rooms I've never lived in, sitting next to women with long black hair and empty eyes, all brushing each other in silence. The photos were old, yellowed, printed on paper I've never touched before. In one of them, I am holding a hairbrush made of bone, smiling. There is no time left. I feel the final tangle forming inside me, the knot that will end everything or begin it again. She has lived through hundreds, maybe thousands before me. She takes root in the lonely, the grieving, the ones who inherit without question the things left behind by others. She is not a ghost. She is a ritual passed down with brushes and mirrors and a quiet compulsion to tidy something deep and broken within ourselves. And now it is my turn to vanish into her, into the braid, into the brushing. If you ever find this, don't pick it up. Don't open the box. Don't brush with it. And if you already have count your hair, check the mirrors. And when the brushing begins, don't let it finish. Let it tangle. Let it snarl. Let it rot. Let her sleep again. Because once she is fully brushed, she wears you forever.